So let me give a little more. I guess the room about this sugya. So first of all, the Tzimtzum Kedem Tzimtzum Harishon, just for the record, we did know there's a concept like that because there's an interesting ha'ara in Tofresh Nun Tes, famous Hecholzu Ranat. So the famous Hecholzu, we know that Rebbe actually published it in a kuntris with his ha'aras. So somewhere in the middle there, you're going to see there's a long ha'ara from the Rebbe where he talks about the Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Harishon. That he says in the Kabbalah of Rabbi Yisrael Sarug, namely in Emek HaMelech, he talks about a Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Harishon. He calls it Meruba V'loi Igul. That's what the Rebbe writes in the Ha'ara. And he also zeichens to the Sefer from Rabbi Aaron Strasheller. So there's a Sefer from Rabbi Aaron Strasheller, Aaron HaLevi, which is called I forgot the name of the Sefer right now. It's one of his Maamorim, Sfarim, where he also talks about the Tzimtzumim before the Tzimtzum Harishon. So when the Rebbe says it's rare in Chassidus, it seems to be he's referring to those places. He also tzeichens a Maamar Bosi Legani, Tofresh Ayin Dalar and Hemshech Ayin Beis, where he also talks about it. And there's also a Tzion, you'll see the Tzion to Teira Shalom from the Rebbe Rashab, where he also refers to Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Harishon. Now, it's interesting because the Rebbe did speak about, especially Shabbos Parsha Tetzaveh, the Igul and Meruba, which I don't want to go into the whole in-depth discussion. You can look it up in the Sichos themselves. But I will say this. When the Rebbe speaks about an inyan, it's not just he's talking about a nekuda here. There's something about Lamayla Aden Ketz from Perek Tezvav and Bosi Legani that we need to know, that it's important to understand these Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Harishon. So I'll quote something that the Rebbe, when he speaks about, he said that the first questions that were asked to the Rebbe, that we asked the Rebbe, were that, what does it mean there was a Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Harishon? The whole idea of Tzimtzum is only Shayach Ta'oir, that is Mamala Mokam Achol. Chassidus says, higher levels of Eir, Le'noga B'hem HaTzimtzum. So the Tzimtzum doesn't affect the Eir that is not subject to Tzimtzum. A Tzimtzum, a concealment, can only conceal something that's Shayach to be concealed. Like, for example, in Atzmus, we know there's no such thing as Tzimtzum. Like, think of the teacher who's teaching an inyan. Even if he's mitzamtzum and he diminishes the flow of his idea as he communicates with the student, for him, there's no Tzimtzum. So what means that Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Harishon? At what level? So the Rebbe explained that it's a dover poshet, mepsari echza laka. You look at every person, that in order to go from a level of atzmos, even to yechelis, and definitely to moyer, requires a tremendous yerida, so to speak, because atzmos is higher than all these teirim. Even the Torah Yechelis, the Rebbe said, which is a very high level, and we asked from the Tzemach Tzedek talks about Yechelis, it still means God's capacity. But God himself is higher than his Yechelis too. So in other words, Tzimtzum, the Rebbe is teaching here, is the idea that there has to be so-called a Yerida from a higher level to a lower level. That was one thing. In Tetzaveh, the Rebbe answered the opposite question. If it's so poshut, this is what the Ha'aras Tzimtzumim asked the question, if it's so poshut, why is it a chiddush from Chassidus and from the Rabbeim that there's Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Harishon? And the Rebbe's answer was because the Eibush is not muchrach in any way. He could do whatever he wants. He could have created a whole existence without a Seder Shtalshlus, without without Tzimtzum. The chiddush is the Eibush that chose to do it in a way that it should make sense, that we should be able to have step by step. So then the question was asked to the Rebbe, so why is it so rare in Chassidus? If it's such an important nekuda, why is it so rare? So the Rebbe said, because there's certain things that is hester elikim, that we don't go to because it's beyond us. So then the Rebbe asked the question, why sometimes do we talk about it? Like the Rebbe himself was talking about. So the Rebbe said, because I eat davis in the mitzias. Sof, that's the mitzias, that we are rooted in the highest levels. And we need to know that A'id is mushrish and atzmus mamish before all these levels. So you could say that may be the nekuda, what the Rebbe really wanted to bring out in this Hadgasha, was not just to talk about Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Harishon, what he says, that A'id Davisin, that when he comes down in Tachtenim, he has the power of atzmus mamish, that's higher than all the Maila Aden Ketz, the Eitzes. He's the soldier. Every Yid is a soldier that's given the eitzes. What's the eitzes? L'mayla ma'ala den ketz. Not the giluyim. The helam achad helam, that all these levels are given to him to be able to do his work and fight the battle of transforming Elam Hazeh into Adira B'Tachteinu. So from that it came very clear, Tov Shemem Hey, that the Rebbe was focusing on the central theme of our Avodah.